Welcome, everyone. I am not Nicolas Cage, but I'm waiting for Alan. Today on the show, I'm just going to keep yelling. I'm going to keep yelling. Today on the show, we're going to be discussing Poor Things. Plus, wait, here, I have to do this, okay? I have to go in. I'm going to thank you. Thank you. All right. I don't know. I love Nicolas Cage. The best Nicolas Cage movie this year is Dream Scenario. Too many movies to discuss on the show today. Alan has technical issues, so hopefully he'll be here soon. I don't know what's going on. It's another chaotic Friday on a big weekend for Film Threat. That's right. Our annual event award this is happening. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope to see some of you there. It should be a blast. So let's kick things off, get things started. A lot of movies to discuss. Plus, the filmmakers behind the documentary, A Disturbance in the Force, will be here today. That's right. Jeremy Coon, Steve Kozak directed this amazing documentary about the making of the Star Wars Holiday Special. You're not going to want to miss it at the end of the show today. Jeremy Coon, who also made the movie Napoleon Dynamite, a film you may have heard of. So much to talk about. Let's get right into it. Alan I actually see Alan off camera frantically working. We're going to see if he's able to fix this issue. Nope. I don't know. Alan does fall sometimes, but this is probably my favorite Alan.
Yo, Adrian! I did it! Alan!
Hey,
okay.
So
is this any better?
Better, but it's still, there's some weird.
I don't know. Maybe it's okay. How about that? Maybe I got to turn this down.
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, maybe the gain was too high.
Yeah, the gain was too high. Hey,
there we go.
Good to see you.
All right.
Good to see you, but I have a bone to pick with you later.
Oh, really?
I have a bone to pick with you. It's gonna see. You're funny without trying. Like if you try to be funny, sometimes I kind of feel like I'm. But if you're not trying to be funny, you're funny. You're just naturally, organically funny. I don't know why. Maybe that's just for me. I don't know.
All right.
Hey, we have so much to talk about before we even get to so many of the films we have.
That was the bone you had to pick with me.
You want me to tell you what the bone is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Show me your bone.
Here's my bone. Here's my bone to pick with Alan. So I'm working on the script for the award show, which is Sunday. Our host, Lila Hart, is coming into town. Very excited about Lila hosting the show. We have other comedic actors that are going to be involved. It's going to be a lot of fun. You'll get to see it on YouTube, but being there is way better because there's a party and gift bags and all that stuff. But I ask Alan, so I'm working on the script and I share, it's a Google Doc, and I share the doc and I ask one instruction. I'm giving everyone like, hey, can you go through the dot, make sure the names are spelled right? I asked one person. Then I asked another person, can you put we're going to have commercials during the show. Can you put where you think the best commercials should go in the show? Then I asked Alan to do one thing. Alan had one job. I say, Alan, can you go through the script for award this? Just punch up the category intros and insert some jokes. Not only does Alan not put one joke, there's a joke near the beginning of the show.
Yeah,
he goes,
that doesn't work. Okay, keep going.
No. All it was a camera direction. And like everything he said, I already knew. I already knew. Like the camera direction here needs to be this. I'm already talking to the production crew, whatever. I asked Alan, like, can you go through the script and just add jokes? He didn't add one joke. He didn't follow the assignment. And
No, because I
I'm
thought you wanted me to go
disappointed
through
in
the
you.
script. Hold on, I thought you wanted me to go through the script, and
I
I
am
did that. I'm looking for the email that has my instructions.
I sent an email with instructions. It was
I'm
very
trying
clear.
to
It
find
says,
that email. I don't see that
no,
email.
no, it was in the shared document. I put a little note. It says, please go through the script,
Ah,
punch up, add jokes. I need you to add jokes. You're a comedy guy. This is Alan
I'm
performs
trying to find. Okay,
at the National Comedy Theater every week. Is it every week? Every other week ish?
yeah, twice a month.
So twice a
Okay,
month.
so here's the deal. You sent me 2 links to the same
But
document.
in
Hold
the
on, you sent me 2 links to the same document,
yes,
and I figure you repeated yourself, so I went to the second link, which doesn't have any instructions on it.
I gave you instructions. All the instructions were, can you write jokes? And all he does is
I'm just saying, if you're gonna
complain.
send me 2 links to the
All,
same.
all you did was complain about one of the jokes in there.
Yeah, it's not a good joke.
No, it's
I mean, I know what you're going for.
first of all, I know the performers that are doing it. We've talked to the camera crew how important this is. That's done. That ship is sailed.
Okay. All
What
right.
what I needed you to do, it's too late now. I have to lock the script like in a couple hours. Like after the show, I'm locking the script. Ship is sailed. So all I can say is this. Here's what I'll say. When you watch Award This, if you see anything funny, Alan had nothing to do with it.
Which means you won't see anything funny.
Stop it. Actually, there is actually I think a very funny thing because a very funny thing that involves you.
Okay.
That I'm excited about. So, but let's see who's in the chat because we have so much to talk about today. It's out of control. Hey, super chat here from Lead Wall for 10, who's a member. I finished Landscape with Invisible Hand. I thought it was great. Had strong social messages. Some I agree with, some I don't. But in the tradition of good sci-fi, it showed, didn't tell. Pod Generation, also good. Hey, thank you, Leadwall. One thing about that movie is it shows you what sort of a Landscape with Invisible Hand shows you what a socialist future might look like. And it's dour, depressing. It's without joy or art. And that's what I thought that this movie did very well. Like if everyone's on an even playing field and whatever, and we're just sort of going about it takes away purpose.
Mhm.
The movie,
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, this is the weird thing that's in Wish. It's the idea that, the freedoms you'll give up for safety, for the government, the freedoms you'll give up to your government so that the government will keep you safe. And that's exactly what happens in this movie. And the people who wrote Wish, they didn't even know they put it in there, but it was in there.
Speaking of Wish, you're working on a series of stories right now. Which, the name, I don't know, is it going to be the D-Files, whatever? It's going to be about not Wish per se, but just about Disney in general. Did you see this? I got this notice from AMC Theaters. And thank you, Leadwall. We appreciate it. A notice from AMC Theaters. If you went to see Wish on December 1st in 3D, you got a bracelet. But only now I know this for a fact because I go to the AMC Burbank 16. They always have like these like giveaways, whatever. They have way too many of them.
Yeah.
So did you get a bracelet, Alan?
I didn't get a bracelet, but I don't know if you can see in the background of mine, but there's the pink egg right there. That's the Flurkin egg
From
AMC from the Marvels. My daughter wanted that one so bad that she got her boyfriend to buy it for her, and thankfully I didn't have to pay for it because it's $40.
I was gonna say, like, you're smart. You didn't get it for her, but it's like, okay, if someone else wants it,
it's $40. It was $40, and it didn't even come with. There's a cat cup. There's it's one of those coolers. It's in the shape of a cat, straw out of its head, And then you have this popcorn thing here, and it didn't even come with the popcorn and the drink. That's how insane this is.
Oh my God. See, we're still getting that like ruffling. When you talk, it's not that bad.
Okay.
Super chat here from Jason Webster for 5. Breaking news: Godzilla -1 nominated for Best Visual Effects for the 96th Academy Awards.
How
Well,
does that happen?
I don't think that's true, because they haven't announced it yet. We normally, when the Academy Awards are announced, Alan and I will get up like at 5 a.m. and we'll like live react to it. So we'll probably do that again. We'll do a watch party for the Oscars. That's always fun to make fun of it.
Yeah, we'll be up for the night.
The nerd, thank you, Jason. You almost tricked us, but sorry. The nerd far away says Alan's chair fall should win an award. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Sons and Shadows. Is this a reboot of My Two Dads? It is. And MK Solid 82 says off camera, Chris is a brutal micromanager. He's like Thanos.
Oh, you have no idea.
Oh man, it's
You
bad
have no
now.
idea. Yeah.
It's can you hear that?
Oh, is it? Okay, here, let me
It's
switch
really
over
bad.
to my
You gotta switch
over.
microphone.
I'm gonna switch over to my old mic.
Okay, cool. All right. Come back when you fix it. Off camera, Chris is a brutal micromanager. He's like Thanos. No, not true. I'm very much a like, as soon as I know I can trust you, I just leave you alone. But yeah, I want to make sure that we provide good. Let's
Is
see.
this better?
100%.
Okay. I'm just going to the old mic.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah, I've never had technical problems. That's sort of like,
Well, I
bread and butter.
didn't until this morning.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Alan, what's your reaction to MK Solid 82's comment?
Oh, he's 100% correct. It doesn't help that there's an award show coming up this Sunday.
Oh my God. It's gonna be fun though.
Yeah. I mean, look, let's be real. When Chris gets stressed.
Oh no, when I get stressed, yeah. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh yeah. Because it's like it's like details. It's like Diana Nyad, I expect you to be excellent.
Well, that makes you Jodie Foster.
Yeah, it does.
That's great. Yeah, actually, I don't want to be around me when I'm stressed out. That's how bad it is. But yeah, only when I'm stressed, when things are going good, which is most of the time. Most of the time things are good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this award show always, there's never enough time. And I'm very clear about instructions, like please put jokes in the script. Hey, Jason Webster says, looking forward to the next Oscar watch party, Chris. This year's was a lot of fun. We will do that again. We will invite special guests. Last time we had Gary from Nerdrotic. We had
Christian Toto
from Heel versus Babyface. We had Christian, a bunch of people. So there you go. John Manilang says, happy Film Friday, Film Threat friends and crew. Looking forward to my second showing of Godzilla -1 tonight. Yes, I am really looking forward to it. So, couple things that we need to go over before we kick things off with our reviews. Actually, a bunch of things, and they're all really cool stuff. So the first thing is, this is a reminder today. I'm just going to share screen here real quick. Today is the last day that you can safely, I'm not saying it's the very last day, but it's the last day where you can safely order something from the Film Threat shop. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. Use offer code filmthreat-ho, like ho, to save 10% off your order. This is the last day that you can safely order and get your order before Christmas. Okay. So go to shop.filmthreat.com to save 10% off at the shop. It's our annual holiday sale. This is order today to be able to get it by Christmas. Now, we're going to extend the sale, but if you want to get your item before the holidays, today is the last day to safely order it. So go to shop.filmthreat.com, use the discount code filmthreat-ho. That's what I think Alan came up with, filmthreat-ho.
That's right. Pimp Daddy Allen. Yeah.
Yeah, Big Daddy Allen. So there you go. So check that out. And yeah, go there and get that. Now, bunch of other stuff that is happening as we speak. Really exciting stuff is our award show. And the cool thing, wait, I'm going to switch to this. The cool thing about award this, I'm going to go through. We got to plug award this. Please join us. And please join us because we are going to thank our sponsors right now. We're going to thank our sponsors because a lot of you didn't know this. So if you're a filmmaker and you sent your movie to Film Threat, there's 2 qualifications to be eligible for award this. Simply 2. 1, get your film or web series or documentary, short film, whatever it is, get it reviewed on filmthreat.com. You go to filmthreat.com/submit, submit your movie to be reviewed. And then Film Threat we've got a review of your movie on the site. Second thing is your project must be.
Oh, you're muted. Oh,
Sorry about that, Alan. I had to cough.
Okay.
Then your movie must have distribution, meaning, so we're talking about all these movies on our award show. We want to make sure that you're able to see the movies, the people watching the show, like, hey, that movie looked pretty good. Those filmmakers gave a funny speech. I am going to try to see this movie. So it's got to be available video on demand or streaming. Any streaming service, doesn't matter. It's got to be available. It could be available on YouTube for free. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, people have to be able to see your movie.
That's exactly right. People need to be able to see the film. So let me go. I've got to go through here because I'm so excited about our sponsors. So if you like to drink water, right? You like to drink water. Alan, do you like water?
Yeah, water is great.
Liquid Death is a funny beverage company who hates corporate marketing. I hate corporate marketing. And as much as you do, our evil mission is to make people laugh and get more of them to drink more healthy beverages more often, all while helping to kill plastic pollution. Natural mountain water served in ice cold, infinitely recyclable cans. Crush a Liquid Death and murder your thirst. Go to liquiddeath.com. Look, I went to liquiddeath.com. How did my reading of that go?
Wait, great. You're awesome.
Did I do that right?
Yeah, you nailed it.
All right, let's do another one. I'm going to do another one.
Seriously, you were awesome. That was great.
Really? All right, I'm going to share a screen on another one of our sponsors. They're one of our sponsors. Okay, this one is good. Encyclopocalypse Publications. In fact, everyone that shows up to award this, Liquid Death is going to be flowing freely. You're going to get in the gift bag an offer code to get a free book from Encyclopocalypse Publications. And what is Encyclopocalypse Publications? From original horror novels, movie novelizations, and resurrected horror paperbacks, Encyclopocalypse wants to be on your bookshelf. The archiving of the written word is one of the oldest and most important practices in human history. Encyclopocalypse was founded as a place where books can live on. From independent novels to literature published before the digital age, our goal is to create a home for every great book that hasn't yet been heard. Learn more at buyhorrorbooks.com, or you can go to encyclopocalypse.com, which I went to, and I'm sharing screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
It looks, this is cool. I know the guy who founded this company, and a lot of it is he's taking like books that have like, they're out of copyright, whatever, they're in public domain, and just putting them on this, using this as a platform. It's an independent platform. So everybody that shows up to award this in the gift bag, you're gonna get some books. All right,
You're
now
saying these are novels written long ago. That
no, recent ones too.
Okay,
Recent ones as well. All right,
it's kind of like zombie Harlequin novels.
Yes. Okay, this one is also, I'm super excited. We've been trying to do this for years to get a liquor sponsor. And I've been talking to the people at Neft Vodka for a long time, saying, please, our event is totally like in line with like what you like to do. But Neft Vodka is meticulously crafted in Austria with mineral-rich alpine spring water and non-GMO rye grains. No flavors, sugars, or additives. Neft's shatterproof barrel design keeps vodka cold for up to 6 hours. Lightweight, portable, and unbreakable. Neft's barrel can go anywhere you want to go, and everywhere glass can't. Great tasting, smooth, top shelf quality rye vodka distilled in small batches. It is vodka worth sipping, no dressing up or watering down required. Made from just 2 ingredients: old world non-GMO rye and oxygen-rich mountain spring water sourced from the Rhine River beneath the Alps. 2 ingredients, nothing else. Neft Vodka, get in my belly. Yes, look, vodka soda is like my go-to because it's just, one, it's keto because look, I stopped drinking beer. Okay. I had to stop drinking beer, but vodka is my go-to. I do like a good vodka, and Neft Vodka is amazing. These barrels that they put the vodka in is really cool. So guess what? Neft Vodka, we'll be pouring it at Award This. Going to be awesome. So
are we going to get the barrels?
I don't know if we're going to get the barrels, because I don't know that we're going to put, there's something in the gift bag from Neft. I don't know what it is. Yeah. They're actually assembling the gift bags today. So there you go. Oh, and partnered with, this is another one I got to read. This is exciting. Rhythmz, which is spelled rhythm with a Z at the end. The Rhythmz Wi-Fi backpack. Rhythmz is a first of its kind mobile backpack with Wi-Fi strong enough to keep you connected even on your most remote shoots. This is a tool for filmmakers. Power your next indie project with Rhythmz, fast streaming and faster uploads, share files, stay connected in real time, stay nimble, and never let location hold you back again. So this company Rhythmz, I met the founder of this company. What they do is they provide like a mobile, it's not a hotspot, it's like a full like mobile high speed. So it's like when you're shooting on remote locations, like in the desert, everyone will have Wi-Fi. Or if you're shooting some weird location that's like underground, you don't have, this will take care of you. So I met the founder actually at Yard House, and he had the backpack with him, and he's like, oh, this backpack is like more powerful than the free Wi-Fi that they had. And he did a demo of it. We did the speed test. It was insane. So one of the filmmakers who comes there is going to win a Rhythmz Wi-Fi backpack, like a rental of it. So you'll be able to use it for your production, which is very exciting. So, and okay, now we have like some other really, you guys have to be patient with me on these. Cause I have to read, this is like part of our deals. We have to read these, but I'm really excited that we have these sponsors. We have real sponsors for our show because this involves giving back. Wait, you're not at the best part yet. Let's talk about shorts.tv. I don't know. So it's at shorts.tv. It is a website that champions short films. Every year, Alan and I go to the theater. Shorts.tv presents all of the Oscar-nominated movies, Oscar-nominated short films, documentary shorts, and animated shorts you can see in theaters. How? Because of shorts.tv. It is a website and channel that totally supports short films. And the winner of our best short at Award This will have a meeting with shorts.tv about distribution. Now, you're not going to be forced to sign a distribution deal with shorts.tv, but you will have an opportunity to discuss what a distribution deal with Shorts TV would be like, get some advice on your shorts. So the people that work in distribution, basically you get a meeting with them, and then wherever it goes is where it goes. So the winner of the best short at Award This going to get to meet with the people from Shorts.tv. So I'm well familiar with this company. I don't need to read anything. Wait, can I see? I'll see what they wrote for me to read. Do you want me to read it, or do you want to read it, Alan?
You want me to read it? Where's
It's in the document that I shared. Oh my God.
There are many now. Yeah, you're telling me now, and now I have to open Google Docs, and now, and then wait for it to open. Here we go. Okay, I got it. Once it
Great. I
loads.
want you to read it. Okay, this is
All right,
Alan,
here we
this
go.
announcer. Okay, here we go.
I'm
Okay,
doing this. Here we go. Let me put it in front of my face here.
this is fun
Shorts
for me.
TV. Hold on, let's do this right. Shorts TV is one of the world's leading short film networks, bringing amazing short films to global audiences for the past 2 decades. We have 4 subscription channels available across Europe, Latin America, North America, and South Asia under the Shorts TV and TV Cortos brands, as well as 4 fast, free ad-supported streaming TV channels available on Samsung TV Plus across Europe, channel 4963 in the UK, and Plex. It's on Plex, folks. It's on Sling in the US. We have hundreds of shorts available via our Amazon Prime Video subscription service across 8 countries, including the US. Plus, we have our very own Shorts TV Plus app. We also have been the exclusive distributor of the Oscar-nominated short films in cinema in North America for the past 18 years. We have a vast collection of films spanning a range of genres, including live action, animation, and documentary films, many of which have garnered critical acclaim, feature stars of films and television, and won major awards, including BAFTAs and Oscars. We believe in the immense power of short film to inspire, educate, and entertain audiences. Short on time, big on entertainment. There you go. How's that?
Okay, let me just say something. First of all, I actually already, before we talked to them, I was like, I already love what you guys do. I've been a fan for years. This is how I find short films, is on shorts.tv. For a company that champions shorts, that was the longest,
Yeah, I know.
that was the longest plug I've ever. Shorts.tv, you have to work on brevity. But the thing that they're very good at is curating the best short films in the world, and always champion short films. One of the best short films I ever saw at Sundance, I'll never forget, I discovered this filmmaker named Ari Gold. He made a movie called Culture. It's a 1-minute movie. I think it's actually 50 seconds. Every time that movie, Culture, look up Culture, Ari Gold. It's on YouTube. This short film, it would play before shorts, before features at Sundance. And every time it played, people just burst into applause. It's one of the weirdest. It's a black and white short film that actually stars Ari Gold, who directed it. And the whole movie's done in one take, and it's awesome. I don't want to give away what happens. Just look up the movie Culture. Those are the kind of movies that Shorts.tv champions. So there you go. Now, for our last...
I'm just saying you should compliment the way I read it, considering I hadn't read it before and I'm dyslexic. So.
Okay, that was a cold read. Alan did
That
great.
was absolutely cold.
Could you do the next one? Okay, wait, I got to present
Is
the
it
next
sugar,
one. Okay,
sugar from
sugar. Yeah, sugar is our last one, but this is really important. I want people to know about this one. This is
other ones from the heart. I don't know if we're supposed to read that one too.
Both of those are kind of together.
Oh, okay.
Sugar Studios, just so you're aware, Sugar Studios is donating. So they're a post-production house in Los Angeles. They're located where the Wiltern Theater is, at the corner of Wilshire Boulevard. It's Wilshire and Wilcox, I believe, Boulevard. Am I right? I just know where the Wiltern is. Anyways, no, it's not. Whatever. It doesn't matter what building they're in. Sugar Studios does post-production for independent films. We are giving away, and we should have announced this much sooner, but they are giving away $10,000 to the to the winner of Best Director, $10,000 in services to Best Directress, and I think it's $14,000. I could be wrong. It might be 10,000. They're giving away also a package of services to the winner of Indie Movie of the Year. So with that kind of budget, you could just go and edit, post, do sweet on a trailer, or you could, look, if you're efficient, you could get a sound mix for your feature film with that much money. So we're really excited. Gijo is one of the founders of the company. I think he is the founder of the company. I met him. He is donating. So winner of Best Director, Best Directress, and Indie Movie of the Year each get a prize package of services from Sugar Studios. So now with that, Alan, would you read the plug?
Sure. Sugar Studios is the premier facility for independent film post-production in Los Angeles. With a full-time staff of over 25 artists and producers, Sugar's unique model offers full post-production packages. Sugar Studios occupies 3 full floors of the prestigious Will Turn Theater Tower with services from editorial, color grading, and visual effects to sound design and mixed packages, and a spectacular 4K Dolby Atmos theater. Sugar is a sweet spot for independent films.
Well, it's the corner of it's corner of Western and Wilshire. I got that wrong, but Alan, congratulations, you read it.
Yo, Adrian! I did it!
All right, so
I'm just
first
so
of all,
pretty. I just so pretty of that.
you do look pretty. Okay, we barely lost people. We barely lost people doing that. And then, okay, one last thing. From the Heart Productions is another sponsor. I couldn't find their website. Oh no, here it is. I found it. All right, here I'm gonna
Last
post
one.
it.
Last one.
All right, why don't you read that while I find the website?
Okay. From the Heart Productions is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to helping independent filmmakers with unique films that contribute to society and get their films funded. They seek to support projects with compelling and powerful stories told with passion by filmmakers dedicated to their completion. Since 1993, they've assisted hundreds of documentaries, features, short films, and web series to raise over $30 million for their projects. They believe that independent filmmakers who devote most of their time to the creative process need help when it comes to raising money. Their mission is to help filmmakers get the film funded they need to get their film in front of cameras and audiences. Got to rewrite that. They support filmmakers through fiscal sponsorship, the Roy W. Dean Grant, education, mentorship, and crowdfunding, and offer books, courses, classes, blogs, a weekly podcast, and many other resources. Visit FromTheHeartProductions.com to learn more.
Well, there you go. We're going to put links to the descriptions, a link in the description of this episode to all of our sponsors. All of this is centered around supporting independent filmmakers with financial support. They're not, by the way, these sponsors, they're not giving us money. We negotiated a sponsorship to give to the filmmakers who the winners of the show, also in terms of the vodka and whatnot. I like to buy filmmakers drinks. What can I say?
We're offering resources because
we're offering resources for filmmakers, short filmmakers, production services. Film Threat's always been about supporting independent filmmakers. I think we only lost about 50 viewers during this, but now it's that. Yeah. Okay. And we truly appreciate and thank all of our sponsors. Go to awardthis.com. You can still get tickets. There are tickets available. I think the tickets, I'm not sure if they're completely out in the main room. There's like a few tickets left, but we have an overflow room where you'll be able to watch the show that's live in the other room. You'll probably hear it. So you'll still be able to like do party stuff, but watch it in the other room because we probably have that main room is going to be overbooked. But that's okay. We planned to be overbooked. So there you go. So go to awardthis.com. There's a link to get tickets still available in the overflow room. Okay. So there you go. All right, Alan, let's get right to it. We have a lot of movies to discuss. We've got, there's a lot going. Wait, I want to see if there's any comments before we move on. There's got to be people kind of, there you go. Member, okay, let's go through these chats. Member for 1 month, Rudy. Looking forward to award this. Got a VIP ticket. Can't wait to check out all the indie films. See you Sunday. I know it's going to be a good time. Rudy, thank you so much. You'll be getting the gold wristband. Gold wristband gets you in the main room. Orange wristband, you're in the overflow. There you go. Let's see. Does nut neft come in those little barrels? Actually come in those little barrels? Yes, it does. It comes in little barrels, like it's like 2 shots, and it comes in a big barrel that's like a bottle of vodka, says Spidey Sensei 72. Patrick Lemire says, but I like GMOs. Hey, Paulie Latino Slant. Hail Film Threat Slant plug. American Fiction co-star John Ortiz returns to the Slant to talk film and career Monday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Keep it fuerte. You know what fuerte means? What does fuerte mean, Alan?
It means keep it fantastic.
Well, there you go. That would be fantastico.
Oh, okay. Keep it.
There you go.
Keep it fire.
There you go. But thank you, Paulie. Paulie is going to be at the awards. Thank you, and subscribe to Latino Slam.
By the way, American Fiction, great movie. John Ortiz is amazing in it as well.
I think we're talking about that movie next week.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, a good interview. Go to Latino Slam on Monday.
Ken Bogus, remember, for 16 months. Wow. Missed you guys at the 35er. I live close by. See you next time. Cheers. Ken, thank you for that. I'm at the 35er about once a week. I'm a regular. Chris, can you do your impression of Minya from Godzilla's Revenge, please? I've always loved that movie since I was a kid. Now I smoke weed and watch it and still love it. I know. Fuerte means strength. I knew that. Fuerte. I know. Yeah. Okay. Godzilla's Revenge. I loved that movie when I was a kid. Do you know why? Because the kid in the movie had Godzilla toys, and I never had Godzilla toys as a kid. They had an Aurora model kit of Godzilla. That's all I had. They never made toys until later. Okay. I don't know if I can do it. It's kind of early in the morning here. That was Minya. So Alan can pull off an Asian Mexican, says Razor Burn.
See. Okay.
Oh my God. Patrick Lemire says, making Gore and Alan read before coffee. What could go wrong? Oh my God. Yes. And then let's see. Glenuccio, Glenn, talking to Glenn right after the show. One of Chris's management styles is he doesn't allow me to make direct eye contact with him. That's actually true. And if my work isn't perfect, I have to stand in the corner in my underwear during meetings. But I will say this, Glenn works out. He looks really good in only underwear. He could have been one of the Von Erich brothers in the Iron Claw, which we're talking about next week.
Which means your work is perfect. Chris makes you do that anyways.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Glenn, thanks. Always good to see you in the chat. It's awesome. Look, we wouldn't have gotten where we are without so many people. Glenn in particular. I got to thank Ms. P Coffee too, just for tolerating Alan and I. But
mostly you.
Wait. Why do you say most?
Why does she have to tolerate me? I mean, do you tolerate me, Miss P Coffee?
She's nodding her head. Obviously, she has to tolerate both of us. Glenn Brown, man, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have gotten past that 100,000. So there you go. MK Solid 82 for $4.99. I can't believe that Rachel Zegler is shooting her mouth off again after everything that went down with the Bob Iger interview. Does it ever end? I think people put maybe a little bit too much. I mean, actors have always said stupid things. This is why, are you surprised that actors say dumb things? I've never been surprised. I've been interviewing actors since I started Film Threat, and they've always been the least interesting part of the process for me. But yeah, also I think things get blown out of proportion. Although that red carpet interview where she's kind of mocking Snow White was terrible. Yeah. She should have completely 180 degrees changed after a conversation. That was bad.
Yeah, but let's from the emails we've been getting, I'm confident the studio told her to say that stuff.
No, yes, I don't think it's her fault entirely. That's what I'm saying.
I think that's how the movie was pitched to her, by the way.
Yeah, I don't blame actors. You know what? Actors they're parrots. They just say what they're told to say. Some can be kind of hollow, like, who am I right now? And so there you go. But yes,
yeah. I mean, I'll say when we present all this information we've been getting, it's going to put that clip into a new light. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Let's see. Sir Switch Crookington, member for 10 months. Since you tried your hand at filmmaking when you were younger, do you see yourself as a those who can't do teach guide to younger filmmakers? I'm still making movies, dude. I had a movie come out in April, Attack of the Doc. I have another movie I've been working on for a decade called Film Threat Sucks, that we have a cut of it, but I'm not happy. It's got to be really good. So what do you mean younger? I made a movie that came out in 2005 called My Big Fat Independent Movie. I made a short film that was, before viral was a thing, became a big thing, which was called Red. Look it up. I put pieces of it and clips of it on YouTube. Yes, I've made films throughout. I made a movie in college, a 60-minute film, which is really weird, an experimental film called Cool Teenager from the Planet X. So I've always made sort of balanced making films with like doing stuff. But I just like real world advice. When I moved to Hollywood, when I moved to the West Coast from the Midwest in the early 90s, it bothered me that filmmakers were so like, at least filmmakers in Hollywood were so like, I don't want to give you my contacts. I don't want to help you because you could get ahead of me. Indie film is different. Indie film is everybody helps each other. There's more of a collaborative spirit of I want to help you get to the next level because all ships rise. So there you go. Like I've never not been working on a movie while I've been doing Film Threat, if that makes any sense. So there you go. But I do think it's important. I do think it's important to, give information to filmmakers. The more you do that, the more people can kind of join the party. Let's see. Mark Perkins for 2. See you all Sunday. Chris, we're talking Godzilla. If my voice holds out, let's talk Godzilla after. Yeah. There's going to be an after party in the lobby. And then there's a secret bar that we're all going to go to, which I'm not going to tell anybody unless you attend, because I don't want to announce it here.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear you on Midnight's Edge in the morning the next morning.
I don't know that I'm going to do the show on Monday.
I think you should. I just want to
Razorburn, member for 1 month. Chris, you should make a documentary about Dragon Con and your experiences from attending. You will show the world how we cosplay here. I would love to do that. Pop culture, I'm working on another documentary after Film Threat Sucks that's been in the works for years. So there you go. I'm going to go through 3 more of these chats and then we got to start doing reviews because we have a special guest joining us in 45 minutes. Ron Smith, you are going through a door. What's my motivation? I don't know what that. All right. Was that about the Rachel Zegler thing? What are we doing?
Or maybe, yeah. Okay.
The Morak, to get a film reviewed by Film Threat, does it have to be a new release? Can it be a few years old? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Go to filmthreat.com, click submit, and just send us the film.
If it's an old film, you might be surprised it might actually be there.
Yeah, that's what's weird is there are so many movies reviewed. You should search for your movie first if it's an older film to see if we did review it already. Sir Switch Crookington for 10. Documentaries don't count. I'm talking about stuff like My Big Fat Independent Movie. It wasn't meant disrespectfully. No, I have a horror script that I wrote over the pandemic that I've been looking for financing for. Well, a documentary is not real movies. It's all storytelling.
Yeah. By the way, I just met an actor who was in My Big Fat Independent Movie.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I co-wrote and produced it. And then there's a horror script that it's an idea I've had for years. Wrote the script with a buddy of mine over the pandemic. And I am going to be making that movie. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm trying to distance myself, not like I'm trying to distance myself from Film Threat, but I love working with Alan because I trust him, like he runs the website and it's like, oh, I don't have anything to worry about there, except when people complain to me. And then I say, it's not Alan's fault. It's the number one question that we get is, when is my movie going to be reviewed? We need to fix that. I don't know how to do it. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a whole other discussion because we get I would say 200 to 300 submissions a month, and it's impossible to get through it.
Well, Sir Switch Crookington, I got interested in indie film before documentaries really became a thing. I think documentaries are mainstream now. People love documentaries. They've impacted behavior. Certainly a movie like Super Size Me, directed by Morgan Spurlock, impacted the McDonald's company and also reminded people maybe don't eat fast food every day for every meal. Might not be good for your health. But documentaries do count. So I disagree with you there. I think it's disrespectful to everyone who makes documentaries, which is it's all storytelling. Anime, storytelling. It's a tool. It's a way to tell a story. Documentaries, a way to tell a story. Narrative films, and generally when Alan and I go to film festivals, what are the best movies that we always see? Documentaries.
Yeah.
They're generally better than the narrative features. So yeah. Yeah.
By the way, we appreciate your comments, and
we appreciate your comments
and in the spirit in which they are told.
Yes. Yeah, but I do think I mean, I'm a documentary. We're talking to a documentary filmmaker at the end of the show today. So there you go. But thank you, Sir Switch Crookington. We disagree, but we can still hang out. It's all good. Loved Dogtooth and the Lobster, but the dry, muted acting is getting repetitive. Curious if this is the case for Poor Things. Brian Gahan, I'm going to hold your comment because that's what we're going to do right now. And thank everybody who sent in a super chat. I love the conversation about movies. That's pretty much Alan and I, 90% of our conversations about, did you see this? What'd you think of that? Oh, you got to check this out. Alan was like texting me after he watched American Fiction, said, oh, you need to see this. You need to see this one, which I love. But let's get right to it. And let's get to, well, Ing the Merciless is, we're going to see how Ing the Merciless does today. Wait, I'm going to pivot. If I'm going to pivot, I'm just going to do a quick.
Oh, hey, Oscars, huh? Oscars can suck it. I don't even have a penis. Watch Award This at awardthis.com.
Let's talk about Poor Things. Poor Things stars Emma Stone as a woman named Bella, who somehow is birthed into existence. We don't know how at the beginning of the movie. And a disfigured doctor who she refers to as God, something of a father figure, has created Bella. The circumstances of her creation you may find shocking. And we'll get into that. It's a very simple tale. It's sort of My Fair Lady by way of The Bride of Frankenstein, if that makes any sense, where Bella begins as kind of a child who was almost, they call her this in the movie. She's kind of retarded. She begins to kind of come into her own in this body, and then she discovers something. Bella discovers sex and speaks out loud. How come people just don't do this all the time? She then, after having sex for the first time, it awakens something in her. And while she is pursued by suitors, she is also just interested in finding her own agency. This is a brief synopsis of Poor Things. Alan, would you say that's fairly accurate?
Yeah, it's very brief. It's almost a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, so I'm telling you about like the first 5 minutes of the film. Yeah. But this film is sort of part science fiction, but also like she plays Bella Baxter is the name of her character. And this character she's sort of coming into her own body. She was an experiment that was created by Dr. Godwin, who she just calls God, played by Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe in this disfigured makeup, he's sort of a Dr. Frankenstein type person, is fantastic. The world that this exists in is sort of this Gothic Elizabethan era. It's not, I don't know that I would describe it as like it's sort of a fictionalized version of the 1800s, but with some futuristic elements. So it almost seems like some of the special effects and the settings when she goes out into the real world, the world that she inhabits in her home is in black and white. When she gets out into the real world, it becomes color, but there are nonsensical things that happen. She has like a dog that has the head of a duck. And these are all experiments that Dr. Godwin has created. But Bella Baxter just wants to go out. She wants to leave the place that she's in to go out in the real world. And every man that she meets wants to lock her down, because it's this Elizabethan type era, or 1800s Gothic, whatever you want to say. Again, this isn't a specific time period. It's like a fantasy version of the 1800s, Gothic 1800s. And she meets Mark Ruffalo's character, is a character named Duncan, who's brought in to draw up a legal contract, and falls for her, and they escape on kind of a whirlwind romance outside of Dr. Godwin's house. She's now escaped out into the real world. And with that, she's just sort of innocent and playful, and everything she takes everything at face value. She literally has the mind of a child. One thing to note about this movie, it is very R-rated, hard R-rated. There's a sequence where Bella I don't want to get into the details, but she works at a house of ill repute where she has relations with many men, and there is full frontal nudity. I mean, full frontal nudity of Emma Stone. Lots of, as Alan would say, dongs. So the sex in this film is graphic.
I believe the term I use is peepees.
Peepees is the technical term. If you're familiar with director Yorgos Lanthimos' previous work, films like The Lobster, which I thought was a really great trailer and interesting concept, didn't really deliver in the end. The concept was you had to find a mate by a certain time period, and if you did not find someone who was your love, you would then turn into an animal. And it's a very weird movie. Poor Things is also just as weird, but it's driven by Emma Stone's performance. And as much as like the running time, yes, is 2.5 hours, it didn't, I don't know, for some reason, I was just so fascinated at but just how this bizarre world, right? And the twists and turns. So I really enjoyed the movie, but I know it's not going to be for everybody. It's like when you recommend a David Lynch film, it's like a litmus test. Like you may or may not like it. I did not love The Lobster, Yorgos's Lanthimos' previous film, but I really enjoyed this mainly because Emma Stone's character is just so likable because she has this weird childlike innocence. So she's always making mistakes, but it's about her figuring the world out, and she has the mind of a child. So I recommend Poor Things with a warning. This movie is not for everyone. It currently stands at it's over 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. No, excuse me, 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm actually more curious. That's the critic score. I don't know if the audience score will be as high. It's 8.5 on IMDb. So it's getting a decent Metacritic 89% score. That's positive for me. It's not a movie for everybody. It is definitely hard R-rated because I mean you see Emma Stone in the act of sex, and they show it a lot. Now, is it graphic sex? No, but you see a lot of stuff. Alan, you see a lot. What am I supposed to say? I'm trying to speak around it.
I mean, full frontal, yeah.
Full frontal nudity, male and female, and especially
she has a lot of sex in the movie.
A lot of sex in the movie, but it's done. I feel like it's done tastefully. For example, there'll be sex scenes, but it's just Emma Stone, and she's obviously riding on top of like Mark Ruffalo, but it is like she's right, and it doesn't just like, oh, it's like we get the idea of what's happening. No, it goes on for a while.
It's tasteful.
It's tasteful because
you make it sound like it's this beautiful Harlequin romance.
it's not a Harlequin romance.
She's writing Mark Ruffalo.
She's writing Mark Ruffalo, and it's her face for like a full minute, like just writing him, and it's like, and she's like,
and then various positions.
Right.
It's hot and it's heavy. Tasteful is not a word I would associate with that.
All right, forget the word tasteful. I'm just saying it. What I'm saying is it could have been more graphic than
it's short of full porno. Yeah,
it's not a full porno. It's not those close-up shots or anything. It's not that. But what the movie is really about, it's almost like I said, My Fair Lady meets Bride of Frankenstein. A full-grown woman birthed into existence with the mind of a child that has to navigate the world and she's beautiful as she's pursued by men who want to lock her down. And it's really about a woman finding her agency. I think that Alan, I want to hear what you think.
I clearly I did not like this movie as much as you did.
Right.
It's one of those movies where you kind of first it's 2 hours 20 minutes long, and it felt 2 hours 20 minutes long to me. It was just it was a chore to get through to the end. But certainly I'll agree there were aspects of the movie that I liked and I appreciated it. But it just went on, and when there is a second, third act that occurs in the movie, and when that second, third act appeared, I was like, oh dear God, this movie will never end. And okay, so I mean, it's this is one of those movies that that feels like it's so artistic that I'm supposed to like it, and that's the way I felt about it. It was like I feel like I'm gonna at some point people are gonna force me to consider the art of this movie and say that you have to like it because of that art, and that's the impression I get. I do like the ideas and the themes behind it. The idea that Bella is a full-grown woman with the brain of an infant, and that over time the infant brain grows and develops, and she discovers things. I would say she doesn't discover sex first; she discovers her clitoris first.
Right, that's right.
And she really goes at it. And I mean, I'm not exaggerating in any of these things, it to me also it's the fact that there's a giant world out there, and all she's focused in on is her lady parts and the interaction of those parts with male parts. And that seems to be like the thrust of the movie, that it is so sex obsessed that it leaves out the rest of the world and what it's like to be an adult and to discover the world. It feels like she's discovering the world only to have sex with Mark Ruffalo, and that's what the world outside of her home is. And so I'm just so mixed on this one because I appreciate the ideas. Willem Dafoe is great as the doctor. You completely left out Rami Youssef, who is her betrothed, which is interesting. And I think that's just the thing is I like the ideas behind it. I kind of wish it had gone at it at a different way than it did in this movie, because it's a tough one to get through for me at least.
Right. Okay. Well,
it's definitely not meant for general audiences, and I think it'll reflect that.
Okay. This is definitely not a movie. It's not a mainstream movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is a movie that may earn Emma Stone an Oscar for Best Actress.
Mm.
What do you think?
I think it could, knowing the Oscars and the pretentiousness of the Oscars.
Right.
I think you could be right. I don't know that she deserves it. I mean, it's a fully developed character, and again, I appreciate that. But not strong enough for me to really follow. I definitely did nominate her performance for the CCAs.
Yeah, I mean, she should definitely be in the mix. This is not a movie for everybody. It really, and not that it should come with a warning, but I'm issuing a warning that like you're gonna see sex. It's gonna feel. It's sort of like this. It's like the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you watch the film, anyone that watches it walks away like, oh my God, that movie was so graphic. It's actually technically the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre isn't graphic. It's what happens in your mind. Same thing with the sex in Poor Things.
No.
You think you've
It's
seen
not in your mind.
graphics. What?
It's not in your mind. It's right there on the screen.
Some of it is, not all of it, Alan.
A lot of it is.
Not all of it.
Like here. Let me find the comment I just.
No, we're gonna get to comments in a minute.
Nominated for the O face is there.
The O face is 100% there,
Yeah.
and it didn't look like she was acting. All I could say is that's what good acting is, when it doesn't look like you're acting. But look, this isn't a movie for everybody. I think it's also like if you want to like get outside your comfort zone, see Poor Things. So I'm recommending it. It's between a 7 and an 8 for me. But the biggest flaw you pointed out, Alan, I agree with you. I agree with you on this 100%. Too long. What is this with these movies that need a second, third act? You don't need it. It's 2.5 hours. At 90 minutes, this would have been a perfect movie. At 2 hours, it would have been a great film. But at 2.5 hours, it's do I want to spend 2.5 hours seeing Emma Stone naked? Now that I say that out loud, I think I kind of agree that that doesn't bother me as much. But
Yeah, it didn't bother me. I was fine with.
You didn't bother you. The nudity didn't bother you.
I appreciated the fact that it was laid out throughout the film, so that when things kind of slow down a bit, she has sex again.
Right. It's sort of like, yeah, they definitely like the sex is,
it carries you through the movie.
Carries you through the movie. So, yeah.
And there was a bit of that too.
There was a lot of things in this movie. So there you go.
I mean, look, I know people that I could recommend this movie to, but I know a lot of people that I couldn't recommend this movie to.
That makes a lot of sense. So, all right. So you're giving it a mixed recommendation.
Yeah. God, yeah, barely.
A barely mixed recommendation. I'm recommending it, but you have to know your own taste. Like, for example, you kind of know the things I like. I like horror films that are more psychological, that are less gory. I like sports movies. I do. I like sports films. Those are certain things that I like, right? But the horror films that I tend to like are more psychological in nature and less gory. And then I do like things that are weird when they're good. I like weird. I like weird stuff I like things that get you outside of your comfort zone, that at least swing for the fences and may not make it. And this is one of those movies that I recommend, but comes with a might not be for you. And that's like all of David Lynch, a lot of David Lynch's work. David Lynch had a great quote where he said, this is what David Lynch said about his own movies. He said, millions of people love Steven Spielberg movies. Thousands of people love my movies. He was basically saying that David Lynch understood that his work was not for everyone. And Poor Things fits in that category. If you want to challenge yourself, or if you just want to see Emma Stone naked, there you go. I'll say this, Mr. Skin, who we have reviewed on this channel. Just look up Mr. Skin on the Film Threat YouTube channel. There you go.
Yeah, I'll check out later on Mr. Skin.
This is a movie. Yeah. This is a movie that Mr. Skin, I mean, you don't need to take a screenshot. Just put the whole movie up there. It's pretty crazy. So, but there you go. That's the consensus. Mixed from Alan. Recommend with a warning from me. Let's go to your chat comments and questions about Poor Things. I saved this comment here from Brian Gahane for 5. Loved Dogtooth and The Lobster, but the dry, muted acting is getting repetitive. Curious if this is the case for Poor Things. It's better than that. I had that problem with Lobster. I never saw Dogtooth, but I found The Lobster to be kind of dry for a movie about love. And this movie is about love also. Poor Things is also about love.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it is. I think the supporting actors are dry and muted. It's kind of like Emma Stone's job to be the center and the light of the film.
And she keeps it lively.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. James Carroll for $4.99. Most well-documented haunting, very compelling, The Enfield Poltergeist on Apple TV. Thank you for the recommendation. One Punch Man Tolkien fan, Grace Randolph said it should get an NC-17 rating. 69 Alan, 96 Alan. There you go. Yeah, Grace Randolph. I don't know. NC-17.
I don't. It's not NC-17. It's just a lot of nudity. Let's just say that.
Right. SP of the North, Frankenstein Does Dallas. Well, there you go. Spidey Sensei 72, Steampunk Frankenhooker. That's yes. Spidey Sensei 72. That is a great yes. It's kind of Frankenhooker, but also it's got that steampunk AI built like weird gothic. I love the look of the production design of the film is fantastic.
Industrial gothic. It's definitely
for sure. More questions. Bobby's World says sounds like a high budget porn film. Well, there you go. And thank you, Bobby, for Bobby's World for being a member. $8.24 from Rumble S. What is its Crunchy Beaver rating? Alan, Crunchy Beaver rating.
Crunchy Beaver rating. I'll say it's kind of mid-5. You don't get a lot of it, but it's there.
All right, well, there you go. Let's see. Krabby Patty, Alan exercising his title as the Merciless.
Yeah.
There
I
you
gotta
go.
keep it real.
Brock Samsonite, I keep it real. I keep it real, but my opinions are, we don't.
Yeah,
line
no,
up.
we have different opinions. That's fine. We have real opinions. That's what we're offering here.
I just know from myself, I'll see a movie and think that's amazing. And then other people will say, I didn't love it.
Yeah.
And because I like stuff that's weird. Well, Alan and I agreed on Saltburn. Alan would rather watch Saltburn again, lol, says Brock Sampson.
I don't know. I would say I would see Poor Things over Saltburn again.
Yeah, I would. Poor Things at least had really interesting ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Saltburn, I don't know that I want to watch that movie again.
But Saltburn, same criticism with Saltburn. It's too much. It was too much. You had a good story behind it, and it was too much. Way
too much. Really disheartening here. All right. We're going to wait. Hang on. I have too many tabs open. This is my problem. Another super chat came in. Bush and Ryu Cat for 2 is a member. More erotic, this or Angel Heart with Mickey Rourke?
This is not erotic.
It's not erotic. It's
just sex. People having sex. And I think that was the point, was that, she's discovering the pleasures of sex without the love of sex.
Right. Thank you, Bush and Ryu Cat, for your super chat. Now we're going to pivot. Alan, what there's a movie that you saw that I did not see, which we're reviewing on the show today, and I don't remember which one it was. Is it
The Shift?
The Shift?
I think so. I think that's the only other movie I saw on the list.
Okay, then let's go to The Shift. Let's go to The Shift. Okay. I got it. It's all good, man.
You got it?
Yeah. No, I'll do a generic background.
Do we have? Oh, okay. Yeah, because I added it this morning.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Let's do it. All right, Alan.
The publicists, they didn't produce a lot of good pictures.
Available. That's all right. Hey, tell us about The Shift.
Yeah, The Shift.
It's a science fiction film. Science fiction, right?
Science fiction. Not only that, it's a faith film. It comes from Angel Studios, who brought you Sound of Freedom, and the Shift is being promoted as the Book of Job, which it is. Stars Christopher Palaha. He plays Kevin Garner. He's a guy who lost everything, his job, his wealth during the market crash, because he was working for Bear Stearns. And after getting laid off, he's about to start a life of alcoholism at a bar. And at this bar, a random woman walks up to him on a dare and tries to pick him up. And it just goes real awkward. But somehow the two find love, and they wind up later getting married and having a child. And then we find out that the child died from a kidnapping. And you don't see any of that. It's just the fact that he's no longer there, and that the marriage between Kevin and Molly has fallen apart. And at the lowest, Kevin is involved in a car crash, and he awakens only to find the benefactor, played by Neil McDonough, hovering over him. And what has just happened is the benefactor, or some might say is the devil, he has shifted Kevin to a different reality. And so this is where we get into a multiverse aspect of this. So this is a Christian faith-based multiverse movie. And he shifts him into a new reality and makes him an offer. He says, Kevin, I like to create chaos in the world. I've been shifting people from one reality to the next, but I need help. And you're the guy to do it, because all the other Kevins have offered to do it. And then this Kevin, because I forgot to mention that Molly was a Christian, and he became a Christian. This Kevin decides that he's not going to do it. And he gets stranded in this dystopian reality where he's lost everything. Being shifted away, there's no Molly. There's no children. He is poor and destitute and on the run constantly because the benefactor has eyes everywhere. And so Kevin goes out and he in his little way, he helps as many people as he can along the way. He meets Gabriel, played by Sean Astin, and gives him, he writes down Bible verses and gives Gabriel those Bible verses. There's a guy, Russo, played by John Billingsley. He has this device that allows you to see into the other dimensions, where he ultimately finds Molly and wants to get back to her. And so, can he get back to Molly? Can he get back to life? I'm mixed on this movie. I think I like this movie in the end, and will recommend it. This movie is a Sunday sermon about the book of Job. The theme behind it is when life becomes the most darkest and it feels like God is not there. Be patient, because God will come again. He will show up in his time and in his way, and in a way that you would never imagine that he can come out in this story. And so that's pretty much what the movie is. I would say the negative on this is the first half of the movie, where it's this whole science fiction story. It really needed to hit hard the fact that Kevin was a Christian, and that he had faith, and that the decisions he makes were based on his faith. And I think it rushed through that. So I didn't really pick that up until midway through the movie, that he was a man of strong faith. And it does take a while to exactly figure out what is happening, which I guess is on par for science fiction movies. I think where it succeeds is the ending, and it's the kind of the revelation of the whole theme, which is, like the book of Job, when life gets dark, sometimes God is not seen, and the results of that, and the natural ending of that story, the ending of Job, basically. And so I'll give it, I'm not sure that this is going to convert the lost, but it definitely will speak to the choir, to the saved. So so I would definitely say that if my Christian friends like science fiction, this is a good movie to see. And if you're curious, definitely check it out. It's a good movie to see. If not, if for anything to support Angel Studios and what they're trying to do.
Right.
So there you go.
I mean, I like when science fiction deals in the realm of ideas more than anything. I think that is then spectacle. We've seen, Marvel movies have just gotten boring. A lot of big spectacle Hollywood has gotten boring because they, rather than focus on character and ideas, they focus on spectacle because they think that's what interests people.
Well,
the point is,
that's what the Marvels was. It was all spectacle.
Yeah, and if you go back and you watch the better Marvel movies, some of the greatest scenes in those movies had zero special effects. It was about those characters and the stakes. So those are the things I like. Let's go to your comments. And so you recommend The Shift?
I do. It's definitely it's a Sunday sermon. And so that should say what the audience for this movie is for.
All right. Let's go to your comments and questions here. Aaron Taylor says the Christian verse.
Yeah.
From Rumble, BMO better sub supporter. He lost everything but his faith.
That's the story of Job.
Brock Samsonite, but in the original story of Job, God never returns. He leaves Job to die at Satan's mercy just to prove a point to Satan. You telling me they changed the story?
No, actually, read the book of Job, and you'll realize that that God does return.
There you go.
And that Job's entire, the second half of Job, the majority of Job is Job complaining to God about why he did this, and you'll see that God does return at the end.
And let's see another question here comment here from Zodlander says, I actually like this kind of take of multiverses. It still needs to address the eternal, endless nature of a multiverse. Does it do that?
No, it multiverse is kind of a plot. And so, yeah, so I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Yeah.
It doesn't try to rationalize the multiverse. Let's put it that way.
Probably one of the best quote multiverse movies from years ago with Gwyneth Paltrow was called Sliding Doors, which basically it starts off, she's, romantically involved, her boyfriend loves him, whatever, and something happens and one version of her discovers that he's having an affair and another version never discovers that he's having an affair, her boyfriend. And then the movie splits into two movies, one where her life goes off in a completely different direction because of the discovery of this betrayal, and the other where she's blissfully unaware of the betrayal. So it shows the two she's basically dramatically different because of this life-altering event. It's a very good, that is an interesting multiverse story, rather than this whole thing of like, hey, it's Alan, but with a mustache and a goatee, like evil Spock in Star Trek. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of cheesy, right? Like what are the decisions? And I always think I actually wrote a script years ago about a multiverse type of thing called I don't want to tell you the title of it, but the premise was really simple, where a guy basically gets to visit all the different versions of him that might have existed if he made critical choices in his life differently. And so I've always loved that concept, but I don't know that I think Sliding Doors is very good. I wouldn't say it's great, but an interesting use of that concept. All right, we have time to review one more film before we interview the filmmakers behind A Disturbance in the Force. So let's get to it. Trying to pick an interesting picture. Let's go with that one. Okay. All right, Alan, you texted me yesterday.
No, I asked you what was that movie name so I could look it up.
Oh, have you seen this film?
I've not seen this one, no.
Oh,
but I do want to see it. Yeah, based on what you told me, I want to see this movie.
Okay. Let me tell you about The Zone of Interest, which is directed by Jonathan Glazer. The Zone of Interest is a very interesting approach. We meet a family. We meet the patriarch of the family, who is an officer in he is a Nazi during World War II in Germany. And this is based on real events. So he's a Nazi commandant, right? And he works at Auschwitz. It's his day job. The home where his family lives, his children, daughters, sons, and his wife, they all live in this house that's literally directly over the wall from Auschwitz. Every day, Dad gets dressed up as a Nazi and goes to work. We never actually see anything happening in Auschwitz, anything in the camp. And we see the family go about their daily lives. They have birthdays, they prepare meals, they play in the yard, they get the children ready to go to school, and they're all contained in this home, which we don't leave all that often. They go swimming in the brook. They do playful activities in the fields surrounding Auschwitz, but pretty much the film is contained in this home. The way that Jonathan Glazer went about shooting this movie is that he shot it like a documentary. So he hired these actors that were supposed to do certain things, say certain lines, but he set up cameras secretly in certain rooms. So they would just go about these actions and there would be no specific like a scene where it's the camera cuts to here and there's drama. No, it's you're basically a fly on the wall watching a family go about this business. And many of the things that they're doing are everyday family things that you could consider kind of mundane. And the Nazi commandant, he may be moved to a different position. He might have to leave Auschwitz and go somewhere else. So there's a little bit of family drama there between the commandant and his wife. Here's the thing that this movie will wear on you, and why, if you're going to see this movie, I recommend seeing it in a theater for this reason, is the sound design. The sound design for this film is absolutely horrific, because all these mundane family events, birthdays and happy events and, loving conversations between a husband and a wife and, work strife, I've got to go to work, blah, blah, blah. It's like simple kind of things that you would see in any movie, a drama about a family. But you're hearing in the background the sound coming out of Auschwitz. You're hearing these giant furnaces burning the bodies. You're hearing shotguns as people are murdered in Auschwitz. This is looming in the background of every single scene in the film. You'll hear the sound of maybe a prisoner escaping and then being gunned down. And it's the constant sound of like it's this ambient sound, kind of like you would hear, if you watch a science fiction movie, you hear like this sound of like ambient sound, like on the bridge of the Enterprise, or it's just always there to the point where you don't hear it. The characters are blissfully unaware and don't hear anything because they're so used to it. But the opening of the film is this, you're in 3 minutes of black. So it has kind of a, an overture, but it's an overture of a wall of sound that is haunting. And then you just see this movie go about its everyday business, see the characters in the movie go about their everyday business with, in the background, this horrific wall of audio. I can't say that I loved the movie in the sense that I enjoyed watching it. I did not enjoy the act of watching this movie. I thought it very difficult. But what Jonathan Glazer was trying to achieve is horrific. It's like witnessing the mundaneness of evil. And just the people who work at a concentration camps. It's a job just like anything else. It's just a day job, right? You go about your business. Participating in a genocide.
So you're saying that it was difficult to watch, but that sounds like that was the point.
Exactly. It was difficult to watch. That was the point. It reminds me, and the movie, by the way, is hour 45 minutes, doesn't overstay its welcome. It didn't feel too long. It felt just about the right length, but it reminds me of, I'm reminded of an interview with Jean-Luc Godard, the French New Wave filmmaker, who once said, I remember reading this and never left me. It's just like this, an impression in college, learning about the French New Wave and seeing the films of Jean-Luc Godard, like Breathless, among others. And he said if he wanted to make a movie about the Holocaust. But he said if he made a movie about the Holocaust, he would make it about the people who worked in the offices and the file clerks, and just make it incredibly boring. The people who just kept track of all the statistics and documented everything. And it would be an incredibly boring movie. He wouldn't show any of the horrors. He would show the everyday people who just worked at a concentration camp. This is what this movie does. And it's rough to see this. It's so rough to see this now. I really walked out of the screening of this movie because thankfully I did see this on the big screen. I did not go, I didn't watch a screener of this film on my television. And I just needed a moment. It was one of those things where by the end of the movie, when you're thinking about it, you just get used to the sound. You get used to the sound of people being murdered in the background. And that was the point. So in some ways, it's kind of an experimental film. So another movie I would recommend with a warning. It's not a pleasant film to see, but it's an important film. And highly rated on Rotten Tomatoes, over 90%, 95% Metacritic, 8.1 on IMDb. The audience, it's not a movie that audiences are going to rush to see. Do you have any thoughts on that, Alan?
Yeah, I'm even more intrigued, and now I'm gonna have to seek a theater out and not watch the screener I got sent.
Yeah, I would see this in a theater.
Yeah.
Before we get to our special guest, filmmaker Jeremy Coon is waiting in the wings. Let's see your comments and questions now. If we have any about zone of interest,
There's a few, yeah.
Or about, okay, so let's go. We're going to go through this real quick. Jeremy's going to be joining us in less than 5 minutes here. He's being very patient. Appreciate him. Hey, the Beast 08 became a YouTube member. Thank you for that. Oh, and also check on the members tab. Join us on Discord. We can continue the conversation. And also, the Beast 808 gifted 5 Film Threat memberships. Well, happy holidays to you. Thank you for that. The Introspect M, I think the book of Job as more of a Christian version of a more general parable that asks the question of when times get tough, do you abandon your principles or continue to abide by them?
Yeah, and that's definitely in the movie. That idea.
Wow. Bush and Ryu Cat says, in the end of Job's passages in my King James Bible, at least, God does answer him.
Yeah, guess what? That passage is in all the versions of the Bible.
Well, there you go. MK Solid 82, is this a sequel to Boy in the Striped Pajamas? I don't believe it is, but it is in the spirit of that. I mean, I tend to like, I don't know, movies about the Holocaust I find very disturbing. I find it disturbing that humanity reached a point that this was considered a solution to a problem. It's and
well, thankfully we learned that lesson.
Yeah, and then it cuts to it's like the end of Curb Your Enthusiasm, right, Alan?
Yeah.
When I say those words. Oh my God, yeah, no, it's disturbing to me how people treat each other on social media, and that is spilled over into real life.
Yeah,
and it's not a sequel, but it's in the spirit of MK Solid 82. Thank you for your comment. Rees Corin, Hail FT, can I ask Alan if he's ever sat and read the Bible cover to cover in a continuous read?
No, it's a very long book. But I will say I have a seminary degree. I've studied the book, and I can say I've read everything, just not in one setting.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, if you want Melanie Mack, to throw out a little shout to Melanie Mack and her YouTube channel, she has a series where she is just reading the Bible. That's all it is. It's her reading the Bible. Jimmy Francis says, that's difficult to listen to. Did it work? It did, in terms of I walked out of the film traumatized. Like, I really felt kind of traumatized.
Now, was the family story, at least, I mean, was that interesting to, it
was just family drama. The big drama is that the commandant, the Nazi commandant, the patriarch of the family, is given a position, and he's dealing with internal politics related to his job, you know, and it's like, and you realize, like, oh, just working at a concentration camp is a job. But it did work. Jimmy, it did work.
Okay.
Thank you. Sounds like a film with a banality of evil subtext, says Tom Siebert. 100%. That is exactly what it is. The banality of evil. Brock Samsonite. Sandra Hüller is in this one. She was also in Anatomy of a Fall. I think she has a solid chance to win Best Female Lead this year. That is very possible. Thank you, Brock. Blackstar 1069. It would be nice to have stories of the other genocides, not the same one over and over again. Yes, I have said this, that there are other the Holocaust, and that is the one that is more widely known.
Yeah,
there are many others.
Yeah,
throughout history.
The Armenian genocide is starting to come to the forefront, and I think there will be films on that in the years to come.
It's horrific. Like I have, when I grew up in Michigan, in Detroit area, I had a lot of friends who were Armenian, and they would complain, like, you know, Jewish people say this, a lot of things happen to us. And I get it. I don't want any group to suffer this kind of fate. We need to, what happened to the optimism that the television series in the 1960s, Star Trek, foretold? that we would not, we would put aside our differences and our identities to respect each other as human beings and stop focusing on our immutable characteristics. I think that this identity politics and separating us into groups and hierarchies is destructive. It's destructive, and we're seeing it in real time.
Yeah. Well, thank God social media is there to help us out.
Social media is there for us to have intelligent conversations.
Yes. Thanks,
and,
social media.
And there you go. So thank you, Blackstar 1069. And one last comment here from John Thomas for 5. Thank you for your super chat. So are they making the point that there are no way people outside didn't know what was happening inside? Which is true. Read Patton's account.
Well, he worked there, so he knew what was going on.
The commandant worked there. His family had to have heard. And there's a scene where a young woman, I'll just give you like one example of a scene. We see a scene where a young woman sneaks into this area and she hides apples in the dirt so that the workers working in Auschwitz discover the apples so she could feed them. So she's literally hiding food for the people because they put these people to work in the concentration camp. Mm-hmm. And she put these in there to discover. It's a film that you need to prepare yourself to see, and just know that after, it's like I needed a palate cleanser. I needed to see Trolls or Godzilla. Well, Godzilla -1 has its own thing, but there you go. All right. Time to thank you for all of your generous super chats, comments, and questions. It's time now for us to pivot. It's time now for us to talk about a different movie here. I'm gonna switch this banner out, but I'm probably gonna play a little video here. Oh, just to remind people, hey, we got to 100,000 subscribers. I just want to say thank you to everyone who helped us get here. Thank you so much. Wait, Alan, could you play another video while I have to make a quick fix to this? Okay. I have to make a quick fix.
Sorry, I thought you were. Yeah.
Because it's
We now consecrate the bond of obedience. Assume the position.
Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Why would you play that video? What are you doing? Embarrassing me.
I like that one.
All right. Let's talk about this film, A Disturbance in the Force. It is a documentary about the behind-the-scenes making of the Star Wars Holiday Special. The Star Wars Holiday Special, to any Star Wars fan, was the Holy Grail. It aired once in 1978. I was there. I was there as a kid, in my PJs, staying up to watch what turned out to be a god-awful piece of variety show entertainment from the 70s. It's since disappeared and resurfaced in bootleg VHS tapes at conventions in the 90s when I rediscovered the Star Wars Holiday Special, and it was just as bad as I remember it. Directors Steve Kozak and Jeremy Coon have done an unbelievable job of they did two things with this documentary. One, they reminded us, through the documentary, they remind us why we all loved Star Wars to begin with. Because the movie begins with Star Wars and the creation of this movie, which was a complete surprise. They talked to people like Charles Lippincott, who was involved in the marketing of the movie when they didn't understand what movie marketing was, or even like toy and merchandising deals. No, movie studios didn't see that as a revenue source, but George Lucas did. So the movie begins with how Star Wars was such an anomaly in the 70s and the huge success of Star Wars. and then the development of the Star Wars Holiday Special into this ungodly, I don't even know how to describe. It's just a bad variety show in an age when TV was really a landscape of bad variety shows. I watched the Donnie and Marie show, which was a bad variety show, and they did a whole Star Wars segment. Star Wars infected, television, late night television with skits. They always got Star Wars wrong. It was awful. And Star Wars sketches on variety shows I never even knew existed are in this special. Unbelievable archival footage. The movie is now, it did a theatrical release a few weeks ago. It's now on Vudu on video on demand, where I just purchased it. If you're a Star Wars fan who misses loving Star Wars, and who doesn't miss loving Star Wars when you look at modern Star Wars, we've had all too many conversations about that. But let's bring on directors Steve Kozak and Jeremy Coon. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey,
Jeremy, long time no see.
It's been way too long, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
By the way, the zone of interest intros, this is about as big a pivot as you can get to this.
Right. Let's talk about the Holocaust, and then let's talk about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Empire's uniforms are kind of inspired.
Yeah, Empire did some bad things too. So
right, there you go. But
there's Nazi stuff in the holiday special. We had people talk about it, like when the stormtroopers come to the Wookiee family. Like, there's some elements of that.
Yeah.
Right. But tell us, first of all, how did you guys meet up, and what led to you even wanting to do this? Because I'll say this, I have copies of the holiday special. I have it on DVD, standard def. I've got it had it VHS years ago. But I have so many questions. Just how did you two get together to even make this? And how did you up-res the footage? I'll say the footage looks better than I've ever seen it. You must have done some AI up-resing. It looks fantastic.
Yeah. Steve got a master of we can get into that, and then I used Topaz to up-res it to HD and 2K. Just kind of played around with it.
I did get a master from, I knew the executive producer of this, who doesn't remember anything about it, or he just plays like he doesn't remember anything about it, because he remembers everything about the David Bowie Bing Crosby thing he produced the year before, but he doesn't remember anything about this. He was able to get me a copy of it, and it was a bump up from a 2-inch to a 3. Not a bump up. It was basically digitized from a 3/4 submaster that they had made off of it. So it's a pretty good quality version. But then also, and I guess it was like an aspect ratio issue, Jeremy, you could tell about that. But Jeremy found a clip on YouTube that was actually better in certain areas. So you kind of jockeyed back and forth between.
I mean, a little bit. I use the Zion. If you're never familiar with the Zion cut, that's probably the best overall cut that's publicly available. So it's just a lot of it was just kind of hit and miss and seeing how things worked out. But we just ultimately want to find the best versions of each scene that's in the movie.
Well, I'll say this. So the process, this is a big thing, big story to tell. You're telling kind of the story of Star Wars and its early Wild West days, which I love. I mean, it's even described as kind of in the movie as Wild West. Like, people didn't know Star Wars changed the industry. Jaws and Star Wars, the sort of back-to-back summers that those came out, changed the industry of the movies. It created the blockbuster, which I'll throw out a recommend for a podcast called Blockbuster. You can find on Spotify, which is sort of it's almost like an audio documentary about how those movies changed the industry. So you get into that. So there's that aspect of it. You made me love Star Wars again. You really did. Those old days. I remember I got for a gift for Christmas the early bird kit. I remember that there were no Star Wars toys. There were bad ones. It took like a year for them to get those out. And it was just this crazy Wild West of, this movie's a hit. People want to buy Star Wars stuff. Let's make it for them. And then let's make a holiday special. But also, I didn't realize, who's the guy? Why am I spacing on his name? He has the weird haircut. He writes for the Oscars.
Oh, Bruce Valanche.
Bruce Valanche. Bruce Valanche, the comedy writer, he's done Punch Up for years on the Oscars. Bruce Valanche worked on the Star Wars Holiday Special, and he couldn't say it. You got an interview with Bruce Valanche. You interviewed the writers who worked on it, the producers, the behind the scenes. The picture that you paint of making the Holiday Special should be a narrative movie. I'm sure you've already thought of that.
It's already a play. Someone did a play of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, where did you begin? Did you have like an outline? Did you like, okay, we're going to do an outline first, then it's just collecting archival and then choosing who to interview?
I mean, a lot of it's just starting. We had questions. So you just start, I view it more as like journalism for like a doc where we have some preconceived notion of where we want to go, but we also want to be open to what people are telling us. So as people tell us what's going on, that leads to other paths. And, it's just bit by bit we get there. But
can I interrupt real quick?
Please.
When Jordan mentioned, God, it's only been 5 years. When Jeremy mentioned the journalistic part, it was funny. Like every now and then I would talk to someone about the special and they would think I was absolutely out of my mind. They would like go, what are you like? You're doing an investigation on the Star Wars Holiday Special? And that feedback came a lot to me from certain people. It sounds funny now. I enjoyed the journalistic part of it. It was the craziest thing I've ever investigated. But it is funny every time I hear Jeremy say that. It was a journalistic search.
Yeah, I mean the idea is you need to be open in a documentary of like you might be surprised by what you find that leads to other stuff. Like you don't want to have the answer already and then build a movie to build to that answer. It's kind of boring.
You did that, and Jeremy, I have to compliment you. I am in your previous documentary, Raiders, which was so much fun. Look up Jeremy's other documentary, Raiders. It's about the kids in high school who made a feature-length Raiders of the Lost Ark with special effects where they almost died burning down their basement using gasoline to create fire. And you had me in that documentary. I appreciate that you didn't put me in this documentary because I don't know anything about the Holiday Special at all. Everyone that you interviewed knows so much. You even got Gilbert Gottfried, pouring out for Gilbert, and all these other people. You clearly worked on this documentary for years. The interviews, people, the fact that you were able to track down Bruce Valanche and people who worked on the Holiday Special is insane. And there's a great balance between your on-camera interviews and footage from the Holiday Special was amazing. Footage and photographs, stuff that you did the behind the scenes story of the Jefferson Starship song that's in the movie. These stories are insane. You basically created a book's worth of material with this doc. I hope you do decide to put out a DVD of this with stuff that you couldn't put in it. I mean, it's a tight 90-minute doc where you're just like, there's not a dull moment.
Yeah, actually, I was pulling. People ask about extras all the time. I started pulling extras together for the Blu-ray, and I thought it was all pretty weak. I feel like everything we like in the movie that we want in the movies in the movie. It's the first time that's ever happened. Like Raiders, we had like hours of outtakes.
Although I have to say, the Gilbert Gottfried interview was absolutely stupendous. It was, I think it was about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, just about that one subject. And he was, I mean, it was just, I was in pain laughing. I actually probably screwed up. I keep asking this. I never asked Jeremy actually directly. My laughter, I think, is in all the tracks. It probably screwed it up for some of those bites. But there was so little we could use because he was so over the top in everything he was saying.
He does about a 10-minute Aristocrats type joke on the Holiday Special. It's filthy.
Okay, which is another great documentary. Yeah. And documentary, by the way, for everyone around, documentaries are real films. It's storytelling, right, Jeremy?
The good docs, yes. A good doc should be structured the same way as a narrative film. Shouldn't be any difference. It's just 100%. Harder to do. And
one thing, just to I'm gonna toot your horn for a second because I've known you almost 20 years now.
It's crazy.
It's weird. Almost 20 years we've known each other, but you are the producer and editor behind Napoleon Dynamite, which is, I mean, you talk to people about their favorite independent films. That movie always pops up. It did tremendous box office, and it's just something that stands on its own. It's like weird, but also oddly innocent. Just a beautiful like slice of life story of a character. And I mean, I go to conventions. You still see vote for Pedro. You know, you see those shirts. You see people dressed as Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, it's the 20th anniversary of it too in January. I think we might be doing something at Sundance. I'm not sure, but the by the way, if I move to your own too, is I used your film festival survivals guide all the way through our first Sundance.
Oh, thank you.
So I don't know if it's still around, but like that was my Bible for Slam Dance and Sundance.
Well, I did 4 editions of the book. I don't know that so much of that information is available on the internet now.
Yeah.
I don't know that. And also it changes so quickly with tools like Film Freeway. I just haven't done, I should probably do a new updated edition. But just sort of like I have a lot of advice for filmmakers. People were ribbing me today. You're always giving, it's like, yes, because I want to see indie filmmakers succeed. By the way, we do this annual award show called Award This. You will be eligible next year for Award This.
Oh,
right.
And it is the indie, because the Spirit Awards, I think, are just Oscars Junior. They don't really recognize the true indie movies that are made for like under $1 million. That's what we champion. And so I'd say we're gonna probably start on our list. We got to be on the short list for nominees for next year.
Do I have to submit anything, or you guys take care of it?
No, you're already eligible.
Okay,
you're eligible. All you need is to be reviewed on Film Threat and be available to purchase. You need to be able to buy it.
Yeah, and the review will come out in the next day or so. So
yeah.
My wife.
I hope it's positive.
My wife.
No,
I believe it's actually a 10 out of 10. So
yeah. That'll help with your Rotten Tomatoes score.
My wife is very, very nice. She's completely does not know anything about the entertainment business, which is a wonderful, wonderful attribute that she has. It's very healthy for me. But she was like, we live in Utah. She's like, oh, are you going to go to Sundance? And it's like, wow, this is like the last kind of stuff that Sundance, embraces. It's all that serious. It's got to be some, homeless people, or it's got to be some human rights thing. Trying to explain to her, like, now this is about as unimportant as can be, but I think it's a good film nonetheless.
No, look, it's a 10 out of 10 for me, especially as someone who loves Star Wars and loves great pop culture docs. Like, pop culture docs are my favorite type of docs. But you're right about Sundance. Jeremy and I could have a whole off-camera conversation about what I think Sundance is now. I don't feel very welcome there. I mean, I know for a fact.
Oh, really? I haven't felt. I mean, like, Napoleon was submitted today. Like that, it wouldn't have got. I don't think it would get in today. Like that type of film, it just doesn't. I was surprised we got in when we got in, and we got into competition. But I mean, occasionally you get stuff through, but it's just. I feel like South by Southwest is kind of filling that void where it's more like fun pop culture. Like we were really excited to have this film premiere there because that's like the right audience is that crowd.
Yeah, South by Southwest through the Alamo Drafthouse, probably one of the greatest movie theater chains in America, which also does their own distribution for movies. Shout out to Tim League, who created the Alamo Drafthouse. They train their audiences to like stuff that's not traditional mainstream big budget Marvel stuff. It's like they train their audiences to look for movies that are challenging or different or about pop culture. So I just don't, here's what I'll say about Sundance. I don't think that festival is as important as it used to be. It's not as important as it used to be. And I don't even know that festivals, even if you never premiered a Disturbance in the Force at South by Southwest, it wouldn't have mattered. This movie's going to find its audience anyways.
Yeah, so, the whole fan community could not be more supportive and nicer about this. Like, I keep waiting for some level of like toxic fandom, but like it hasn't happened. Like, everyone's been a great cheerleader for us, and like we feel really thankful for it.
I thought. What was your experience at South by in terms of its reception? And
it was great.
Was it a smart move? I guess that's ultimately the question.
Yeah, I mean, it was off the charts. I mean, the main reason you go to festivals, I feel, is to build up like one. It's kind of like the stamp of approval, or it's like levels you above other projects, but.
Right.
It also, like, that's where we got our first basis of reviews. I think we got like 20-something reviews out of South by Southwest, which without a festival, it's very hard, I think, to kind of get reviews. I mean, you can kind of reach out to people, but that gives you a solid base to build on. That led to 12 other festivals. Like we paid Sitges and Fantasia, and it's had an awesome festival run.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say like I say, we could have an offline conversation about Sundance, but you're right. When you already have a audience built in, I mean, with the documentary, I don't know if you saw my doc, Attack of the Doc.
I did. I was a contributor. I was like,
oh,
you got the DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. The Kickstarter. That's right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So, I mean, I had like an outline, but I didn't know where it was going to go. I needed an outline just to have some structure, but I was like, well, we'll see what happens. Cause I don't know why G4 went away initially. So thank you. Thank you for being a supporter.
Great job.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, I'm working on another doc. I might need your notes on. Let's have an offline conversation. I have a cut of.
We'll talk on Sundance, and we'll talk about your project.
Yes. We'll have we'll see how much. Yeah. But this doc, I was just it did what I believe you must have intended to do, which is I forgot how much I love Star Wars because you brought us back to the 70s and those. I mean, just the interviews, and yes, there are celebrities and recognizable people in the film. Kevin Smith is in it, Bruce Valanche, a lot of Gilbert Gottfried, a lot of recognizable faces, but also the writers and these TV. The fact that you got those and they really tell the real story. Oh my God, the reaction at South by had to be insane.
No, it was great. It's also a fun film to see with an audience. Like I've had multiple say it's like funnier than like comedies they can recall. Like we made it for people to have a good time, and I also feel there's some cathartic way. I mean, I was born after the special, so I don't remember the 70s, but like there's something about going to a simpler time where, remember what it was like in the 70s and the 80s, where like we didn't have phones and the internet. It's just kind of like you had 3 channels and you watched what was on. Like there's something kind of comforting I feel about that to a lot of people, and reminds us like why we like Star Wars in the early days. Like the first movie I remember seeing in the theaters, Return of the Jedi, when I was like 3.5. Wow. And I don't remember the movie. I don't remember anything that happened. I remember the feeling vividly.
I remember, I mentioned this in the last screening, which was absolutely, I think the best screening we ever did was the one at the Utah Film Center. It was, the audience was literally screaming at the screen. They were like, and at first I thought, wow, it's kind of rude. Like they're talking to the screen. It's kind of loud, but I'm like, no, that's the whole thing. This is the whole thing. But one of the feelings I had watching when I experienced the film is that I feel kind of like what you do, Chris. I remember that time frame, how magical it was. I mean, I went to see it. I was dragged by friends to go see it. I hated science fiction. They dragged me to the theater to go see it again with them, and it completely blew my mind. I mean, that scene, I can still remember when they went into the trench at the end. I mean, that was the most amazing experience, and I do sympathize that I'm not bringing it in because Jeremy loves this. Jeremy's much younger than me. But I mean, to be able to experience that in a movie theater at that time, specifically at that time, now you're used to censor on, and you're used to all this great sound in the theaters. You didn't have that at that point. It was completely a mind-blowing experience, and it was just a great film as well. But I mean, that's something that doesn't really get talked about when people talk about their first theatrical experience. And then when you see just how manic it was and how everyone was talking about that film, there's never, ever been a film, no matter how great the response was for Avatar when it came out or whatever, that just, even though it became a religion in the 90s and it created this whole nother level of popularity, that first couple months in the summer, I mean, it was just insane. Just, you can't even describe it. And that's, there is part of that in the film I really like, that we have that excitement from Weird Al and explaining, what that mood was like,
Well, yeah, that's what I think is one of my favorite parts of the movie is trying to understand what the phenomenon of Star Wars was at that time. It was so big. It's like you said, Steve, it's completely Like there's nothing that even compares to it. You can talk about Endgame and the build up from Marvel. That was close, not the same. Not the same. And that, like, I remember walking out, like, what it changed. Star Wars, and this is not, it's a very common thing that people say, Star Wars changed my life. When people saw it for the first time, it changed their lives. It which is why it's had such an impact, which is why I think we won't go down this road. The current Star Wars is kind of a disappointment for many. But in any case,
but I will say one thing on the that, you know, it also was a very universal film. Like,
yes,
you know, everyone saw that movie that you knew. It was really unique that someone had just decided not to see that film, as opposed to so much of the niche now. The niche is just completely like, there are certain people that just like, I just don't like superheroes. I don't do that at all. I won't go there. There are certain people that just won't go into genres.
Right.
But in 77, everyone went to see that movie. And that's, I think, part of the beauty of it was that it was just taking over. Everyone was talking about it, wherever you were. You know?
Yeah, I made a lot of friends in elementary school when Star Wars came out, because we all had something to talk about and had something in common, something we all loved.
Yeah.
Star Wars brought people together, which was great. We need more of that. We have over 500 people watching us live on YouTube right now. The chat is on fire with comments and questions for both of you. Let's get to them with this incredibly generous, oh my God, Bush and Ryu Cat for $50. Who's also a member. Sorry, I keep trying to save Star Wars. I saw Anthony and Gruber again, the best Harrison Ford actor who can do Han Solo in my Star Wars reboot, Star Wars Rebellion, with best of the first 3 films in one, Star Wars Shadows of the Force using Rey's story, and Luke Lives. I'd love to love Star Wars again. Thank you for that. Very generous. For $10 from MM, Star Trek's Utopia only comes after the destruction of civilization on Earth. Humanity, like any addict, has to hit rock bottom before it can get healthy. We haven't rock bottomed yet. Okay, well,
we gotta get
very dystopian.
All right, let's get to the Matthew Hammond for $4.99 says, I might buy the Blu-ray for the full Gilbert Gottfried interview. We'll put it on there. You got to do it.
Special edition. We got.
You got to do it. A special edition Blu-ray. More questions. I mean, they're just coming in fast and furious. Just bought the film. We'll watch it this evening, says Leadwall for $2. And Leadwall, thank you. Leadwall, like, if I recommend a movie, I'm saying this is weird, different, you got to check it out, he will buy the film. I love that. Tom Siebert says, is it funny? Will I be able to convince my son to watch this? He's so over Star Wars, it would not be a fandom watch, but if it's funny, he'll be into it, says Tom Siebert, who has a son. What are your thoughts?
It's totally funny. We made it to be funny, and it's also pretty clean. Like, it should be able to watch. I mean, with the exception of like one Wookiee erotica scene with Diane Carroll, it's pretty family friendly. But that also aired on CBS in '78, so it aired on TV. So I mean, yeah, we made it for people to watch, and like the whole. I will also say it's crossed over to non-Star Wars fans in a way that I don't think we expected. So if you don't like Star Wars, there's still plenty for people to laugh at.
It's like the same marketing campaign as Barbie. If you love Barbie, you'll love this movie. If you hate Barbie, you will love this movie. That's what this film is, I think. And I think especially, Tom, to speak to your comment, if your son is over Star Wars, this is what's weird. Star Wars is not cool among kids anymore. They don't care about Star Wars anymore. You know what they care about? Skibbity Toilet. Look it up. I was at LA Comic-Con recently, and there were a bunch of kids. I took a photo every time I saw a kid dressed from Skibbity Toilet. It's a web series that's on YouTube that gets billions of views, not millions, billions of views all over the world. It's a phenomenon amongst Gen Z. Look up Skibbity Toilet. Star Wars is not cool. Skibbity Toilet is, but Tom, your son, it'll explain to your son why you love Star Wars to begin with, and remind him when Star Wars was cool. Not so much anymore. Jimmy Francis says, how old is Jeremy? He produced Napoleon Dynamite 20 years ago. Looks to be in his early 30s. Jeremy, I mean, that's a personal question.
Am I able to flip off the camera?
Yeah. So any consolation, I was 24 when we made Napoleon Dynamite, and it's been 20 years. So if someone can do math. But it makes you feel nice.
Barely a
Makes you feel good.
teenager. When you-
I think about what I was doing when I was 24. I'm so embarrassed.
Let's see. Laura Buckle says, I'd heard Hamill was in a car wreck before the special. They had to cover some injury. They address it in the doc. This is a part of the documentary.
Yeah, we lessened. I will say we lessened. So Mark Hamill's seen the film and like a big fan, and we so we had to tiptoe around that a little bit. But like he had an accident, but it has nothing to do with the special, and it happened like a year and a half. And so that whole urban myth that he was wearing a bunch of makeup because he was injured and hiding an injury, I mean, we debunk. Like we don't feel that's true.
Also, if you look at his face, it's not different. He's just wore tons of makeup. I mean,
it was just bad. It was a bad make. Well, the other thing, like all the press he did for Star Wars in '77 was after that accident, and no one said anything. So like it happened like January of '77. Film comes out May of '77, and all that press tour is post accident.
I think one of the reasons we didn't get into it too is, we love Mark Hamill, and I don't think we really had a plan about this specifically, but I know I felt very strongly that the people that make fun of him about the makeup and then go, oh, it's because he was in that car accident. Yeah, I remember when he like broke his nose and his face had to be redone. They had to take part of his leg and put it on his head or whatever. Like people can be so callous about describing a near-death experience that this guy had. I mean, he nonetheless, whatever our point is in the film, it is definitely agreed upon that he almost died in this. And for people to be so nasty in the way they treat, basically the guy who has carried the torch for Star Wars all these years and always done interviews and kept promoting it over the years, it's not very respectful to him. And I think we were very respectful because there were a lot of people that made some crazy comments, and we definitely didn't include anyone that was that we thought it was like kind of inappropriate or whatever. But I think we handled that really well.
Well, I love Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, but I'll say I don't love whoever's running his Twitter account. I would advise him to just get off social media. Comment here from Suns and Shadows. Did you have any struggles with Lucasfilm Disney over this doc?
Not yet. No.
you had a lawyer vet it though, right? Like I went through the process.
I mean, Steve does clearances. He can talk about it too. We've gone through a whole legal review, insurance were covered, and we actually were very conservative on what we use. So nothing was like, we're not pushing the envelope on any usage that we're doing.
Right.
Were there any special clearance issues that you had to run in, considering it's not readily available, and then all that old variety show footage you include in it as well?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the variety show footage, I mean, I kind of grew up with this. My father was a producer at the time. My father was one of the producers on that Bob Hope horrific thing. And he'll have to atone for that at some point. But what I really liked what we did is, I mean, I will say in the shows that I've worked for, I work at Jimmy Kimmel now. I worked at The Tonight Show. That's 20 years right there. I'm really showing my age now. But whose line is it anyway? Every show I've ever worked at, there's always someone pushing and thinking that they can use crazy footage and I'm always battling that. And so it was really nice that Jeremy, as the editor, understood and agreed with me that, it's, we didn't want to get in trouble, obviously. That's the number one. But the other thing was, it's just so bad. We didn't put a lot of footage in it. And when you watch the film, there's not a lot of footage from the special in it. And I love that aspect of it because it's very, very tight. It's very respectful to the IP. And there's really nothing that I mean, many people have said the same thing, like, wow, you really don't use a ton of footage from the film. There's nothing, we didn't use it and get laughs off of it. We didn't, because it's really not fun. It's not that funny. It does not have the, it's so bad, it's good aspect to it. It has it's so bad, I'm really falling asleep through it.
Well, there's oh, sorry, Jeremy.
I was saying, but at the end of the day, we got to use everything we wanted to use in the movie. I mean, you always had this movie we submitted to the lawyer for them to review, and I'm just like, oh, we're gonna get like a bunch of notes. We got 2 notes that had nothing to do with the special. There were other archival stuff that we used. Well, so it was nice to make the movie we wanted to make.
Yeah.
And I will say, and then we took that advice. So we were very conservative on this film. This is a most people will get a review from an attorney, and then they'll take it as just advice, and then they'll possibly still think, oh, I have E&O insurance, I can just do whatever I want. And we're very, very conservative about this, and I'm really proud because I feel like I can talk about it now, because I was very apprehensive to talk the discussion of fair use and so forth when we were developing this.
Well, the attorney for my documentary Attack of the Doc, I used this attorney, Michael Donaldson. He wrote the fair use argument that allows documentary. He wrote a book about it. It changed the world of documentary filmmaking because he laid out his argument of why you should, as someone telling a story, be able to use footage within guidelines. I mean, I got notes like, you got to shave, if you're going to use this, you got to cut out like 8 seconds or something. You get notes like that. So we were we went like a fine tooth comb through the entire film and had to make, actually it was only like 3 or 4 changes through the whole movie. And it didn't really change anything that I wanted to say. So I felt really good about it. But Michael Donaldson is the attorney. Seek him out. You can Google him. He wrote that argument. It changed the world of doc filmmaking. We have a lot more questions here, and I know we're on limited time, so let's get to it. Kara asks, question, as I never saw the holiday special, it is a total unicorn. Is it something interesting that I find it interesting that Disney uses Wookiees in red robes as merch. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. It's sellable,
Yeah, if there's a way to make money on it, they're happy to do it. Yeah. So, I mean,
they celebrate Life Day
at
the
this came out. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I mean,
I love it.
Like it's an authorized like Disney product with it says Life Day on it.
What I find interesting about that is not just is it a copy and a direct creation from adaptation, the way they created the action figure. There is a still in the holiday special on that art. I mean, that's very, very, that's really crossing the line even more in embracing the special that they don't want to think they're embracing.
The Morak asks plans to release on Blu-ray or DVD?
I'm going to do a show and tell because I have this.
Oh! Wait, can you buy the Blu-ray now, or is that just a prototype?
No, you can go on Amazon. You can buy it. Ships in a couple days. So if you go to our website's disturbanceintheforce.com, it has links to everywhere you can buy it, but you can go on Amazon and buy it right now. Okay,
this is a question I asked this of every filmmaker. Wait, I'm going to share the website. I have it here somewhere. But I think it's important just as a piece, because you know what it's like to be an indie filmmaker, that you just don't have like a ton of you don't have like a huge budget, say, for marketing. So important that you have a link tree. I think that is something that is just really, really important, that a link tree, if you see a link tree, but this is your website, a Disturbance in the Force, you can go directly there. The movie is on Apple TV, Prime, Vudu, Google Play, and available also on Blu-ray. That's fantastic. So
I built that on Wix. It took me about a couple of hours, so it's super easy to build a website now.
But a link tree is also very important. A super chat came in. Snakes and Funerals for 5 says, you all seem to forget you seem to have forgotten the true meaning of Life Day. What is the true meaning of Life Day? Have we? I don't know.
Yeah. Just be good to each other. Be happy, be fun.
Yeah. A few more questions here. Still, there are more people that have joined. 530 people watching. Patrick Lemire says, Bruce Vilanch, also BFF of Carrie Fisher. They wrote jokes, banter for award shows like the Oscars together.
There's a great story about that. I'll just make one quick plug. I did write a book about this that's available in bookstores right now, same title. And there's a lot of stories like this that we just couldn't fit into it. Or like this one specifically, Bruce remembered a year after we had started editing. And he got on the phone. When they wanted to, there's this whole legend about Carrie Fisher making a negotiation to appear in the special when she was actually that she wanted to sing in it, so she made that her. And in the book, I definitely say that was not true. Bruce agrees it wasn't true, but Bruce had this story about that she wanted to sing the song River, so she came into the song Joni Mitchell's song River, very depressing, kind of maudlin, but a holiday song, I guess, because they're skating, which is so ridiculous. Anything with ice, like Frozen, becomes a Christmas thing. In Utah, everything is snow in the winter, but they were like, well, we'll never get permission to use River. So she had just sung this on the piano in the production office, and then she goes over and they figure out Joni Mitchell's phone number, and they call her on the phone and ask her for permission while they're both on the phone like this. She's explaining that she's Princess Leia, which is funny because Joni Mitchell might not have even seen Star Wars. And she just like laughed and, giggled and said, "Oh, you guys," and just hung up on him. So, I mean, they did try, there are these little great adventures where they were really a cute couple and good friends.
Couple more questions here. Razor Burn, who's a member, says, Steve or Jeremy, any plans to be creating a documentary on the making of Hardware Wars? That sounds like an opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Hardware Wars, but I don't know the story behind it as much. I
know a little bit because I know Michael Weezy. Michael Weezy, when I was a kid wanting to get into film, Michael Weezy Publications, MWP, you can look them up, he wrote all these books about they were very practical guides to making films. And as a goof, he made Hardware Wars, a 16mm movie. It blew up. There's a whole story behind the making of it. You can find it. I believe it's on DVD, but look up Hardware Wars. It was one of those early movie. This is before the internet. Okay. When people would just make parody movies like Bambi Meets Godzilla. There's another one that no one else will remember called Apocalypse Now. We would write about all these in the early Film Threat. Does anyone remember Apocalypse Now? Anyways, nobody does. But Razor Burn, that's a great shout out there.
Yeah, they played Hardware Wars on Showtime in between movies. That's how I got to
really?
know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the doc I want to do is Detours, Star Wars Detours. I would love to get into because it's just such a no one knows anything about it.
Yeah, because you talked to
very little. Yeah, that requires Disney's approval because they have like 40-something episodes sitting in a vault that no one's seen that are completed. And it's been 10, 15 years at this point.
I saw part of an episode at a panel. I forget where it was. Might have been Star Wars Celebration or Comic-Con, but San Diego Comic-Con. But Detours, they shelved it. When Disney bought Star Wars, they had this comedy series that was George Lucas approved that paid for it. Yeah, and they shelved the entire thing. That was one of their awful decisions. I think probably the worst decision Disney ever made after purchasing the Star Wars franchise was to make a Star Wars sequel where Han, Luke, and Leia are not reunited in one scene. That decision might be one of the worst decisions in entertainment history, along with turning Disney and Marvel into girl brands, which I got flack for when I pointed that out on social media. Maybe taking a boy brand, buying it, and making it a girl brand. Not girls love Star Wars, women love Star Wars and Marvel the way they were. You didn't need to make it. You didn't need to pander to women. What? Why are you're?
No, we're in an interview and you're on your soapbox.
I'm on my soapbox. Jeremy, do you watch
your show? You can do whatever you want.
No, but Jeremy, I've known Jeremy for we talking about almost 20 years. So he knows that I'm just like this when we hang out in real life.
Yeah.
Jeremy was one of the common sense, sober-minded people. I love to hang out at Sundance because things would happen at Sundance and I didn't need to talk to him. I would just look at him and go, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Do you still come to Sundance?
No.
Yeah.
My last time I went, I think was 2019.
2019? Yeah, 2019.
2019.
I went 2020, and that was my last time.
Yeah.
Alan, I've gone every year since I was 18. So this is my 26th or 7th Sundance.
So you still go?
Yeah, but I live in Utah and it's right here. And I'm kind of at this point, it's kind of it's not that big. If it took more effort, I'd probably think about it or it was more expensive. If you're coming from LA, it's really expensive being a place to stay.
Right. Right. No. We look at condos. We used to get a condo and have like 10, 12 people stay in there. It was chaos and it was super fun. We would see almost every movie both at Sundance and Slamdance. Now it is such a chore. And I don't know that Film Threat is the most beloved outlet either amongst filmmakers. Filmmakers like us because they know.
Yeah.
But Sundance sees no value in helping
Whatever.
us at all.
Well, we had Peluca, which was the short we did before the Napoleon Dynamite was based on. I remember driving in LA to a PO box to drop off a VHS tape for Film Threat to review it.
Oh man,
that's how
wow.
I think it was addressed to you because I went to the address to go drop it off, and it was in like I can't remember what it was, but it was like a PO box. And I was like,
on Wilshire Boulevard.
Yeah,
it's the same one. I've had it since '96. The same address. Wow. Oh, that's so cool. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to just like I'm familiar with Jeremy. We literally haven't seen each other in years since you came to my old place in Pasadena.
It's been a while.
That was so the Raiders doc that's in my old apartment in Pasadena.
Yeah,
you'll see. I think you filmed me against my, fireplace or something.
No, you had your golden idol.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I still have the golden idol. I like to collect.
As you should.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. A great last question to end on here. Let's do this. Solomon Thornton, who's a member, asks, "Greetings, Sir Steve and Sir Jeremy. What is your favorite Star Wars film?"
Last Jedi. No, I'm just kidding. It's got to be Empire. I mean, that's the best of the bunch. I mean, if I was alive in '77, it would probably be Star Wars. But going back on it, my favorite that I enjoy to watch is Empire.
Well, I still saw Empire before you saw it too, in the theater.
I might have been one.
I would have to say.
I don't know if I saw it.
I'll move to Empire. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Hey, okay, what's your third favorite Star Wars film?
Return of the Jedi.
That makes sense.
Rogue One.
All right. Okay. Fair. I just saw there was an episode where the Critical Drinker, who I watch on YouTube, I think he's fantastic. He and Ben Shapiro, of all people, got together and ranked the Star Wars movies. They mostly agreed. What
was last? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember. All I know is like their choices were not very controversial.
Yeah,
that's all I'll say. But hey, I just want to thank you. I know you're on a schedule here. I want to thank you both for coming around the show. A Disturbance in the Force, available on Blu-ray and DVD on Amazon, also available on all your favorite digital platforms. I mean, it's I don't know, the favorite pop culture documentary I've seen this year. I mean, it's like incredible.
After yours.
After yours, I was going to say the second favorite one. No, I mean, I feel like, I don't know. You inspired me with the Raiders. I'm like, I'm going to make, people have been saying there should be a documentary about G4. I'm just going to make it. Like no one else is going to tell that story from a fan perspective. So I appreciate it. And Jeremy, always great. We'll have an offline conversation after this. I'll pop you an email later today, but thank you so much. We showed the trailer actually earlier this week, got a big reaction from everybody. Really loved the trailer. It's fantastic.
Thanks for all the support. We were actually like the 20th highest film on Apple, which is insane for a little documentary.
Wow. That is amazing. Congratulations, Jeremy, Steve, on the movie. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. See y'all.
All right. Take care. That's great. Those guys are awesome.
And I know for a fact you've seen Attack of the Dock more than you've seen A Disturbance in the Forest.
Only because I had to do it for work. We have a few more comments to wrap up. So apologies there. Wait, quick thing here from Rumble. Ethan Allen, is Linktree a sponsor of this program? No. I bring up
They should be. We should be getting money from Linktree.
Okay. No, they're not a sponsor. It is a marketing tool and a promotional tool that I think is very important. And Alan, Alan is not just a coworker. Alan's a friend of mine. I'm thinking about Alan's best interests. Alan, if he had a Linktree, could promote his comedy, Ing the Merciless YouTube channel. I just want to go. Where do I go to get all things Alan Ing? Where do I go? I don't know where to go. If you go to my social media, just go to it's Linktree/that Chris Gore. All the relevant links related to me are there.
I like to believe that if you go to Google and you type in Alan Ng, you'll see my film threat, my movie reviews, my career as a violinist, classical violinist, my career as a young hip hop artist. Also, I'm apparently a real estate developer, and I think I'm a surgeon somewhere as well.
That's because there are a lot of people named Alan Ng. You know what's so fun? I thought of I wanted to do.
There are more people named Alan Ng in the world than there are Chris Gores.
I wanted to do. This is a dumb idea for a doc. Because Chris Gore is a more common name than you think. There's a Facebook group called I Hate Chris Gore. It's not me. It's a guy. It's a bunch of guys from a fraternity that just named it after their friend. There is a professional race car driver named Chris Gore, a professional fisherman, a financial analyst who's on Fox television in Australia named Chris Gore.
Oh, there's a minister on YouTube.
Oh, a very famous. First of all, I own chrisgore.com. I don't do much with it. There is a very famous minister named Chris Gore. So if you look up my name, Chris Gore, it gets confused with it. There's a screenwriter named Christopher Gore who wrote the movie Fame. I met Bruce Vilanch. He thought that was me. No, I'm serious. I met Bruce Vilanch once. And I told him my name and he goes, "Oh, wow. My mom knows your mom." And I'm like, "She does?" And went on and I was like, "Oh, you mean the guy who wrote Fame?" Anyways, here's my idea for a film. Let's see what the chat thinks. I'm going to find all these people named Chris Gore and we're all going to go to dinner and talk about what it's like to have this name. All right. Now that I say it out loud, it's not a very good idea.
Let's just say there's a documentary of James Bond that came out last year that does that exact same thing.
Oh, really? People named James Bond.
James Bond. Yeah. And the horror they've had to live through having that name.
Well, Patrick Lemire says Film Threat Bingo, hot Linktree talk.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Hey, Chris, what did you think of RRR?
Oh, no. That's off the bingo card. That was last year's bingo card. Ethan Allen from Rumble says the multiverse of Chris Gore. Yeah, it could be funny. It could be funny, but it's not a sponsor. I just want to go to Alan's Linktree and go, here's where I buy tickets to see him at the National Comedy Theater. Here's a link to his Instagram, which is different than his Twitter. Here's his salty Twitter. How do I subscribe to the Ing the Merciless YouTube channel? I actually don't even know what the direct link is.
Yeah, it's Ing the Merciless 69.
Is it 69?
Yes, it is. So
oh my God.
YouTube / Ing the Merciless 69.
Oh my God. Hilarious. Wait, oh shoot, I forgot a super chat here. I'm so sorry, Magnum Norse. I think Bob for Magnum Norse for 10. Thank you for that. Says I think Bob Iger needs to F off, but he won't because he's a D. I would say D is probably what he was alluding to, but we keep getting
playing match game now. That's awesome.
Literally daily, we're getting people coming out of the woodwork wanting to tell us Disney stories. We have to kind of Alan has a huge task in front of him.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to do part 1 by this Wednesday about the downfall of John Lasseter. And a lot of people have been coming out. And if you happen to have worked with John Lasseter or worked at that time when he was fired, would love it if you reached out to us at filmthreat.com/contact.
Thank you, Magnum Norse. We appreciate you. That's awesome. And that's going to wrap it up for us today. Hey, Award This is this weekend. It is really important that you guys, if you're able to get tickets, please get tickets. Still available. You can be in the cheap seats. Just come for the party. It's going to be a blast. Sunday, December 10th. Go to awardthis.com. Awardthis.com will then premiere, I think, on YouTube on Tuesday night. We still have to, if there's any technical issues, we have to figure it out.
Yeah. As long as we probably get the sound right, that would be great.
We're gonna get demonetized. It's whatever. Yeah. But we will premiere it. I will let people know in the community tab. But I just want to thank you. We reached 100,000 subs and did it with all of your support. So cannot thank you enough for that. I want to thank our producer, Glenn Brown, Ms. P. Coffee, and thank you to our mods, Lord Thoth and Latino Slant, hanging in the chat. We appreciate you. It's going to be a busy weekend for me. You know what I have to do? I have to finish this show, and then I have to write jokes. Now, why am I writing all the jokes in the script? I mean, I really wanted some help with those jokes, but.
Well, if you need help, I mean, all you have to do is ask.
All right, well, let's talk after the stream. I only harass people I like. I only harass people I actually like. So there you go. Any final comments? I didn't miss anything. Just want to say thank you to everybody. We enjoy spending time with you, and we appreciate it. And big things are coming next year. I already know what we're planning on. There are big things coming. You think the channel is, we've reached it. No, we have bigger things coming, and our award show with host Lila Hart, other comedians. I think you're going to have a good time. Alan?
Let's get out of here.